Alright, this is the Cadence Raptor. Just gonna go over the solo and everything. So the snare will start off as that's when the tenor comes in. The tenor part is 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and. But every whole note, so 1, 2, 3, 4 and are just normal. But the 1 and a, those are going to both be rolls. So hit once, roll with the right, then with the left. Then when you get to the 4 and, it's going to be this strum over here, then the lowest strum, third, then fifth. Then it's going to be 1 and a 2 and, which is going to be played here. The and being on the second drum. We play this normally. Then a different rhythm, which is E and So the tenor part for the first two measures is then you repeat the first measure. Well, it's different actually. So it's 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and. So all together. Then we get into some straight 16th notes. Starting on the second, then the third. So that's 1 E and a 2. The E being on the fifth drum, so ending back on the second drum, a stick click, and then the first beat of the next measure, both at the bottom drums. As the snares lead off with the, you're going to play the. So that's just 1 E and 2 E, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a. So alternating between a single hit on the second drum, then 2 hits on the third as 16th notes. This is a crossover at the end. So it's 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2. 16th notes over here. Then the first beat of the second measure, or of the second measure of part B. Just a single hit, crossover. Stay silent for 2 measures. Then we get into the end of the section, which is 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a E and. This is what it sounds like. Except on the very first notes, it's always going to be open. So you play it normally, and then you're going to mute it on the anda. Mute, mute, open, mute, mute, open, mute. Then the last one is open, mute, open. You'll get that. Then, section C, the beginning of the solo. So the first measure is 16th notes. Starting on the third drum here, it's going to be 1 E are both rolls, and then this anda is just 2 opens, and then 2 and on the second drum, then the fifth. Then you're going to be alternating between hits on other drums and 2 hits again on the third one. So the first hit being on the second drum right here, then a crossover to the 5th drum right here. So the second, third, third, 5th, third, third, second, third. That's the end of the first measure of section C. The third measure of, second measure of section C is the second hit on this drum, so except now it switches to being single hits. So after that one they become single. So again, starting with the second one here, 2 hits, the 5th drum, 2 hits, the second drum, a single hit, then the 4th drum over here, and a single hit. Then it starts over again, going from the 5th to the 2nd to the 4th. And then over here, starting with alternating on the 5th, so it's 1, 2, 3, doubles for the first 2, 1, 2, 3, a single one. Then they become single hits. 1 hit being on the 3rd, the 2nd, back to the 3rd, then the 4th. I'll play the whole section slowly. So as you see, there was 3 hits on the last one. And then it's just going to be 16th notes for the first 2 beats of measure 18. So just rolling pretty much, 8th note rolls if you will, on the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And then the rhythm of 1, and on the second drum, which just sounds like a half note triplet. So and that brings you to start the solo again, which is the same thing. The only thing that it changes for is the snares, so that's why it's written as section C and then D. I think that's all that really changes. And then section E starting as it's 1 E and 2 E and, but with accents alternating. So starting on the second drum, so then we move over to the third one. So at the end of the solo, I'm sorry. I always played it differently, I'm sorry. That's how it's ending. So, section E, 1 E and a, 2 E and, moving over to the third drum, 3 E and a, 4 E and, then there's 16th notes, 1 E and a, 2 E, no, I'm sorry, 1 E and a, this 2 being on the third drum, so 2 E and a being played on the 5th drum, so, and then, so again another alternating rhythm, so the first beat, or the third beat rather, will be played on the second one, 2 hits on the 5th, 1 hit on the 3rd, another 2 hits, and then the final one being on the 5th drum itself. So, ending with a simple, which would be played on the and 1, the and of 4, then 1 of the final measure. So the whole song played through. I hope that lesson was easy enough to understand. If you have any questions, please comment them below. And you can request any other drumline song, be it Cassidy Byers or Roll Off Productions. And I'll see if I can teach it to you. Thank you.